playing against a really good Georgia team on Monday night. I think that's the one thing in our profession now, that you can do anything the way it works these days is you want to try to play on Monday night, and we're getting a chance to do that. So excited for our players, and I think it's a great opportunity for TCU and our football program and everything associated with it. So, guys are fired up to go play. We'll have a walkthrough tonight, and then we'll get into our normal kind of open week routine coming off of an open week. We'll have a Tuesday, Wednesday practice, a Thursday run through, Friday walkthrough, Friday run through prior to the game. Try to get our guys there fresh and rested up. But we'll have 2 really physical practices tomorrow and the following day. So that'll be really important to continue to play with that kind of edge and that kind of mentality that we played with against Michigan. I thought our players did a tremendous job of answering that challenge that we gave them during the week. Was to play, number one, really hard, and number 2, really physically, and said it post-game and believe it. I thought we were the most physical team there, and certainly we're going to have to even be more physical as we start to prepare for Georgia.
Coach, I'm curious, when did your staff start looking at Georgia? Like, when did you have staff start?
Yeah, I'm kind of, these days are all running together, so I don't really know what day that was. Basically, the day after our game, we played, I guess, Saturday night, and then Sunday was more about, taking a look at ourselves from the Michigan game and trying to, correct the mistakes that we made, and that was more what Sunday was about. Had a little bit of time to jump into Georgia Sunday evening, and then all day yesterday and obviously today have been dedicated to getting ready for the walkthrough tonight, which will install a lot of the game plan in that walkthrough, and then go practice it for the next couple of days.
Sonny, you talked about being more physical, knowing you're going to have to be even more so this week. Just talk about what your team showed you and just what that does to kind of give your team momentum doing that again.
Yeah. The interesting thing was we felt like we've been a physical team all year, and I think those inside the football program certainly recognize that. We felt like our success in the second half was because of that physical play and that mentality that we carried, really all season. As the game went along, we felt like our guys got stronger and got more physical, and that's been, pretty consistent really throughout the year. And I think that's probably part of the reason we played so well. As I said, the second half of ball games, run game really started to get going. Kind of played out the same way Saturday. As you go prepare for Georgia, the same thing as Michigan, just a little bit more athletic in terms of really big guys up front. Ends are a little different, better pass rushers. Michigan was more big, long, kind of bigger defensive ends. A little more run stopper type guys, where these are a little bit more typical SEC defensive ends. Really, really good pass rushers. Really physical guys, great speed, great athleticism, and then obviously up front, the tackles, that group of tackles is really impressive. Those guys are tremendous athletes, and not only big and strong, but can redirect and can run, and they do these athletic things that you just don't see other guys do. And that's kind of true of the whole team. It's just it's a very athletic football team, what you would expect from a defending national championship team, and team that's been number one for most of the year.
When you went back and watched the game against Michigan, did you think you guys played well?
Yeah, I thought we played okay. I thought we played really hard and really physical. We made a bunch of mistakes. Turned the ball over 3 times, which has been uncharacteristic of us this season. I think going into the game, had you told me we would turn it over 3 times, I said we probably would have a difficult time winning. Credit to our players for overcoming those turnovers and those mistakes. Obviously we created some that were big plays as well. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was anything stellar, our performance. I think that the great thing about it is, our players know this, our staff certainly knows it, we could play a lot better than we did. And that's encouraging because, we beat a good football team, and I think if we can get some of the issues that we had corrected, There were times we didn't communicate as well as we should have. We probably had more busts on both sides of the ball than we should have. We made some bad decisions a couple of times in our special teams kick return and punt return game. You know, just some things like that that we can clean up, and all those things, you know, made a big difference in that game Saturday, and you know, probably kept it maybe a little bit closer than it should have.
When you consider the stage, consider Kendra's injury, I guess how special was Amari's performance?
Yeah, Amari did what he's done. You know, that's been what's great about this team is really going back obviously to the Colorado game. The next man up has stepped up and played well. You know, when Kendra went down with that knee injury, Amari saw it as an opportunity to go in there and get a bunch of playing time and a bunch of carries, and performed exactly like we expected him to. He's a very good player, very mature, knows exactly what to do. Just an intelligent, really intelligent young man who, you know, makes the most of his opportunities every time he gets them. And so he did exactly what I thought he would do, and he's a really good football player. That's a really good combination, those two guys. The running styles are a little bit different, and I think that's hard on a defense when you've got two backs that, you know, have a little bit of yin and yang together in terms of what they do, and what they complement each other well. You know, we're hopeful we get Kendra back. As the week progresses, we'll know a little bit more every single day. You know, right now I would say it'd be questionable, and then we'll kind of make a determination as we get through the week.
Coach, what is gonna be your message or mantra for this team going into Monday?
Same thing it's been all year. You know, just do your job, play hard, be physical, you know, take care of your business. I think the big thing for us is just learning how to handle all this, and thought our players really handled it well. We had 4 players that went back and counted to make sure that had played in a bowl game before. Had a couple more that were on the team that didn't participate, but you know, you think the other team has a huge advantage when they'd been to the college football playoff the year before, and you haven't been to a bowl game, and only 4 of your guys that are playing for you right now had played in the game. And so, you know, that was gonna be a challenge for us, and so we challenged our players to, you know, to treat it like they had been there before and act like they'd been there before, and they did. You know, we were in Phoenix for a long time, and the way our players prepared and the maturity they showed, you know, was exactly what we needed in order to be able to go out and win that ball game. And so, you know, you gotta tip your hat to these guys. They have been up for every single challenge this year. It's been a learning experience. I mean, we've said it over and over again. We're kinda building this airplane as we're flying it. And that's the way it's been all year, because everything's new. And we're putting it together, and you know, we didn't have a bowl formula, we didn't have any of that. We just put a lot of thought and effort into trying to maximize every opportunity to get better, let our players enjoy the experience, which I'm glad that we did. And at the same time, most importantly, you know, get them ready to go play a big football game. And thought the guys really responded well to that challenge.
Sonny, football is such a small community, pros, college. You mentioned Monday nights. Maybe some of your players were watching that game on Monday night. Is there any thought of talking to them about the events of what happened?
Yeah, you know, it's one of the things I think that we'll talk about tonight, you know, about what happened last night in Buffalo, and certainly, you know, offer our prayers as a team. You know, that's unfortunately sometimes something that happens in football, and certainly I hope the outcome is good, and we'll learn more hopefully today about the young man's condition, but it's you know, certainly something we'll talk about. Yeah, I think that's, I've always been a believer that when things like this happen, there's always a cloud, and there's always a certain level of anxiety, and I found the best way to deal with that is to talk through it. You know, just to be honest and open, and say, hey, look, let's sit down and talk about these things that concern us all, and try to deal with them the best way that we can.
Coach, what was it like having the fans welcome you guys back to campus?
I mean, look, the fan support here has just been tremendous. I mean, I don't take it for granted. I really don't. It's something that, you know, means a lot to me personally. Means a lot to our players, just the way our fans, our alumni, the city of Fort Worth, everybody has, you know, has supported this program. I think it's really been something special. And, you know, when you come back from a long trip like that and, you know, a long day of travel and you have several thousand fans here, it certainly boosts your spirits and, you know, and reemphasizes what you already know, just how important college football is to Fort Worth and to TCU, and to our fan base and our alumni and our donors and everybody. And so anytime that you know, you have that many people come and show their appreciation, it certainly, like I said, doesn't go unnoticed by any of us.
Coach, Joe Gillespie said last week that the bigger the game, the smaller the plan. Does that apply for this game too, or?
I think so, yeah, I think so. I think what happens is normally, and this is a little different, the preparation's a little tighter, the window for this game than there was the semifinal game. What happens when you have a month to prepare for another team is, you know, you start to see a lot of ghosts. You can talk yourself into a lot of things and you have all these ideas and then you go out there and you go, well, that's a bad idea, and then you try another idea, and before long, you know, everybody's up in arms and discombobulated. And I thought our staff did a really nice job of being focused and tight with the game plan. You know, we did, I felt like, just enough new things. You know, I wish we would have executed some of them a little bit better, and we're certainly going to have to this week. But at the end of the day, you know, we're 15 games into the season, and you are who you are, and you're good at what you're good at. And like anything else, you know, we're all going to rely on things that we're comfortable with and things we feel like we can execute and make calls that our players know, understand, can adjust to, and you know, and execute, because that's really what it comes down to. It comes down to the players, you know, us as coaches putting them in the right position, those guys being able to communicate, talk, make the adjustments they need to make, but then most importantly, go play fast and make plays.
Coach,
You're 15 games into the season, but you're still considered underdogs.
Yeah.
You embrace that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of part of the TCU way in a lot of ways. You know, I think we're kind of a small private school that has a really good history. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. I saw some statistics, you know, since 2000. If you look at TCU's football program and Michigan's program, you know, you would think Michigan would have won a lot more games. On the contrary, TCU's won a lot more games in the last 22 years than Michigan has. And so, look, there's been success here. I think that for whatever reason, it's been a little bit of a secret in college football, and the facilities and the commitment and everything are here. And so it's, you know, Coach Patterson had a lot of success here at TCU for a very long time. And, you know, it's like anything else. So I enjoy that role of, that role of having to wake up every day and go earn it. And I think it's good for our players. I mean, that's kind of the way life is. And so I think it's a great lesson for all of us that doesn't matter what happened last year or 2 years ago or 3 years ago or 2 hours ago. It matters what's going to happen, and our players have had that mentality really since the beginning. You know, it's funny, I remember talking to our players, we came out of the Big 12 preseason press stuff, and you know, we found out that our team was picked 7th in the league, and never talked to our players about it. Had a couple of players kind of mention it to me, and I just said, look, doesn't matter. You know, it's going to be a long season, and it's up to us to prove those guys wrong. And it still is. I mean, that's just the way it is. And then when this season ends, you know, the bigger challenge now is how are we going to react to being, you know, kind of the favorite? How are we going to react to having that target on our chest and all that? So that's stuff down the road, but that's going to be a whole nother, you know, job for us as coaches to you know, make sure that we stay hungry and we keep our edge and we do all the things that got us here.
Coach,
Do you feel like you're playing with house money from the standpoint that nobody thought you'd get here and you're 2 touchdown underdogs here?
Yeah, you know, a little bit.
Let's hear said that.
Yeah, a little bit. I think, I mean, it's a national championship game. It's a hard thing to get to. You know, there's a lot of guys that have been, you know, Hall of Fame, legendary coaches that have never gotten to this point in their career. And so this is a hard thing to get to. It's a very important game. You know, you don't get a chance to do this every year. But at the same time, I mean, look, we're gonna do exactly what we've done every game up to this point. We're gonna prepare the best we can. We're gonna play really hard. Our guys are gonna play tough. They're gonna, you know, not revel in the success, and they're not gonna, you know, dwell in the failure that happens during the game. They're gonna go out, they're gonna play their very best, and they're gonna play hard for 60 minutes, and they're gonna do their job, and they're gonna hopefully like the outcome of it. And that's the goal, and it's kind of been our mantra since the very beginning is, look man, go do your job for 60 minutes, play as hard as you can. When the game's over, look up at the scoreboard and see who won. And I think that's been our approach from the very beginning, and it certainly has to be our approach Monday night.